Hey everybody! Today begins our wonderful journey into Spiritforged budget brewing. Today's legend has been requested by some viewers over the last few weeks, and it's Ahri. Ahri is a green-blue control deck with a combo finish that is focused on holding battlefields and taking full advantage of her legend ability to limit how much power walks into any given battlefield. This deck currently sits right at the $100 budget limit. However, because we built with this in mind, this deck is quite powerful and packs a real punch. Please do keep in mind that prices are subject to change as this deck is with pre-order prices. Also, friendly reminder that early set release prices are going to be much higher than after Spiritforged has been out for a little bit. First and foremost, let's talk about our Legends ability. Ahri Ninetail Fox says when an enemy unit attacks a battlefield you control, give it -1 might to a minimum of 1. This is a wonderful ability for holding down battlefields and creating situations where your opponent thinks they have enough might to conquer, but they actually don't. Because this affects each and every unit as it goes in, this legend ability has quite a lot of power and can give you the mental edge over your opponent. Always remember to announce the trigger right at the beginning of combat, just so you don't get rule sharked. Now, let's move on to your chosen champion. For this list, we built around Ahri, Alluring, also known as Green Ahri, which says, when I hold, score 1 point. Now typically you score 1 point on a hold no matter what, but with Ahri, this allows us to score 2 points from a single hold. With Riftbound being a game that ends at 8 points, getting onto an even point number is quite powerful, because it allows you to go 2, 4, 6, 8, which basically denies your opponent an extra turn. With this in mind, holding for 2 gives us quite a powerful ability, as we will likely not be able to conquer the other battlefield with this deck list. Look for opportunities to play Ahri right onto a battlefield you are guaranteed to hold, and score that extra point. Also, she can allow us to catch up in games when we're behind in the point race. We play one Ahri in our chosen champion zone and one in the deck, as we are reliant on this effect to help us steal games. Now, typically this is where I begin talking about the units for the deck list. However, this deck has a non-unit card that it is heavily built around. That card is Spellsonger. Spellsonger is an equipment which is a new card type in Spiritforged, and it says, as this is attached to a unit, copy the effect text as long as I am attached. It equips for 1 energy and 1 green recycle, so with this equipped to an Ahri, now when you hold, you'll score 3 points for that hold. With 2 you score 4, and so on and so forth. This equipment is very fun, neat piece for the deck because it allows us to create some shenanigans and win games when we're 3 to 4 points behind. We play all 3 copies of this card as we're looking to see it in no matter what in each and every game. Now, onto the units of this deck list. First, we have Lonely Poro. This unit is 2 energy for 2 might, and he has a death knell that says, when I die, if I was alone, draw 1 card. This is a wonderful 2-drop that allows us tempo and gives us the ability to get onto a battlefield and begin holding. Along with that, the unit can be traded off later in the game for a card. So overall, it's an extremely solid unit for the deck. We play all 3 copies of Lonely Poro. The other 2-drop unit we play is Ravenbloom Student. This card says, whenever you cast a spell, give me +1 might this turn. This card is cracked in our deck and can be an alternative holder of Spellsonger because if it's holding one, it says when you cast a spell, now give me +2 might this turn. And that gets really insane very quickly with all of our tempo cards and pump spells. Also being a 2-drop that lets us get onto a battlefield and begin doing our thing, it's very important. We're playing all 3 copies. Our next unit is Sona, Harmonious. She's a 4 energy, 1 green recycle unit with 4 might. That says, while I'm at a battlefield, when you end your turn, ready 4 runes. This card is crazy good in our hold focus deck because she allows us to tap our runes to play cards on our turn, and then when we end the turn, we get to ready 4 runes to hold up tricks or Countermagic to slow our opponent down and protect our units. We look to play Sona in the mid-game directly to a battlefield, usually the turn before we'll play Ahri, and this will allow us to get a lot of extra hold points. We're playing all 3 copies of Sona. The next unit in the deck is Blitzcrank, Impassive. This is a 5 energy and 1 green recycle for a unit with 5 might that has tank, and also says, when you play me on a battlefield, you may move an enemy unit here, and when I hold, return me to my owner's hand. This card is a neat piece of tech that allows us to slow our opponent down by splitting up their attack. Typically, people will move in when they know they are likely to win, but with Blitz, we're able to take important units and move them to our stacked battlefield and kill them with ease. Also, Blitz can open up the other battlefield for us to be able to possibly get a cheeky conquer point. If we're ever able to do that, we likely win the game on the spot. Friendly reminder, when you pull your opponent's units, any attacker triggers will trigger, along with our legend ability. We are only playing one copy of Blitz, as we only want to see him in some matchups, and it's not required to see him every game. Our next unit is Tasty Faithfolk. This is a 7 energy unit with 6 might that has Accelerate and a death knell of draw 1 card and channel 2 runes exhausted. This is our main way to score a cheeky conquer point on turns 3 or 4. Look for opportunities to conquer when your opponent is tapped out and we can get onto the other battlefield safely. If this is not possible, then Faithfolk is a wonderful 6 might defender who just puts a lot of might and helps solidify our battlefield. We play 2 copies of Tasty Faithfolk. Our final unit is Thousand Tail Watcher. This card is very similar to Faithfolk as it is 7 energy and 1 blue recycle, but it also has Accelerate and serves a similar purpose of being a good unit to take the other battlefield. Due to its enter the battlefield trigger, which says when I enter, all enemy units get -3 might until the end of turn to a minimum of 1. Again, similar to Faithfolk, look to play this unit to be able to take the other battlefield, but if you can't, it's a solid 7 might unit that helps lock down our battlefield. So we play 2 copies of Thousand Tail Watcher. Now, let's move on to the other gears that are in the deck. The first gear we need to talk about is Seal of Focus. This deck has quite a high number of green recycle in it, so we're playing all 3 green seals to help mitigate the recycle costs of the deck. These seals cost 0 energy, but they do have a green recycle cost. They allow us to tap them to pay for future recycle costs. They're very good cards, and we need them to be able to play the deck. They are required, and are likely the most expensive card outside of Thousand Tail Watcher. Look to play all 3 copies, and it is kind of needed for this deck list. Our final gear is Cloth Armor. Now, people might call me crazy for this inclusion, but I love this card in hold-based decks. This card is 1 energy for an equipment that gives the equipped unit Shield 2. On top of that, the card has Quick Draw, which means you can play it at reaction speed and it will be auto-equipped to a unit. So this is basically +2 might when defending for 1 energy on a unit of our choice at reaction speed, which our whole deck loves because it's a combat trick. We are playing 2 copies of this card. We might go up to 3, but I need more testing with it. Now, on to our spells. First and foremost, we have 3 copies of Stupefy. Stupefy is reaction speed, give a unit -1 might this turn to a minimum of 1, draw a card for 1 energy. This card is absolutely fantastic and is one of the best cards in Origins. You should look to play 3 of in every single blue deck. There is no excuse not to play this card. It is one of the best cards in blue. Please stop cutting it from your decks. The next card in our deck is 3 copies of Defy. This is a 1 energy and green recycle for a reaction speed spell that says counter target spell that costs no more than 4 energy and no more than 1 power. This card allows us to protect our units. Along with that, it keeps our opponent off tempo from what they are wanting to do. Friendly reminder, for any played trigger in Riftbound, the card must resolve. So you can use this to counter a card that might let a Darius ready or stop a Ravenbloom student's trigger. The next card is 3 copies of Discipline. This 2 energy spell is reaction speed to give a unit +2 might and draw 1 card. This is green Stupefy. Just like I said, you should play all 3 copies in blue of Stupefy. In green decks, you should play all 3 copies of Discipline. This replaces itself, it buffs your unit, and its reaction speed, so you can save your units, protect them, be able to take battlefields you shouldn't be able to take. This card is fantastic. Play all 3 copies and stop cutting it from your deck. Our next card is a new Spiritforged inclusion called Thwonk. This card is 2 energy at action speed with repeat, which is a new mechanic added in Spiritforged, which allows us to pay the cost and add the text of the card again. Thwonk says to stun an attacking unit, so if you pay 2, you stun 1 attacking unit. If you pay 4, you stun 2 attacking units. Now, you're only ever allowed to repeat a spell 1 time, so you couldn't pay 8 to stun 4 attacking units, sadly. Remember, when you play a repeat cost, you just add the text of the card again. So 1 counterspell stops both instances of stunning. We play all 3 copies of Thwonk. Our next spell is Not So Fast, which is a 2 energy, 1 green recycle spell with reaction speed that says counter a spell or ability that targets one of your units or gear. This card is required as a 2 of for our deck to play around Rebuke and other removal spells. We're desperate to have more effects that can target removal and things that outside of Defy, because Defy can only hit something that is, 4 mana or less and doesn't have more than 2 power cost. So Not So Fast, being able to stop cards like Rebuke in this very heavy Rebuke meta is very important. Now, onto our battlefields. We have Trifarian Warcamp, Grove of the Godwillow, and Obelisk of Power. We look to play War Camp on the blind, Grove when we know we are going first, and Obelisk when we know we are going second. Let's dive a touch deeper into each of the battlegrounds. Trifarian War Camp is amazing in Ahri, as because of your legend ability, your opponent's units here don't really get the War Camp bonus, but yours do. This creates situations where you're able to get hold just a touch earlier than expected. Ahri is the second best user of War Camp next to Victor, so look to take advantage of this effect. If you are playing versus Victor, and you are holding onto the War Camp, if he moves in with just recruits onto your War Camp, your legend ability does keep them at 1 might. This is because the War Camp is a static effect that takes place before any move, attack, or defending triggers happen, so your legend ability is able to reduce them back to 1 might. Next is Grove of the Godwillow. As a hold-based deck, this battlefield is perfect for us because it allows us to keep the cards flowing, and when we're on the play, we're able to get to the battlefield first and lock it down. Look to play this when you are on the play. Finally, Obelisk of Power is just generally good going second, as it allows us to start at 4 runes and begin taking the game into the mid/late game stage where our deck really shines. Just reminding you, you can miss this trigger, so before the game starts, put a die on top of your deck so that way you remember, oh yeah, I channel an extra rune at the start of my turn. As long as you remember this before your turn is over, you're still able to get the rune. Even if your opponent contests this, just call a judge. Finally, our rune split is 8 Calm runes and 4 Mind runes. This is because we have quite a lot of Calm recycle requirements compared to the Mind requirement. Ahri is a fun and exciting deck to play that allows you to show off quite a lot of skill if you're able to master this deck. We're looking to create situations where there's a 0% chance our opponent is able to come into our battlefields and win. Remember to use skills outside of Riftbound, like bluffing, to make sure our opponents think we always have it. Overall, this deck was super fun to build, and I hope you guys are excited as I am for Spiritforged. This deck came right in at the $100 USD budget that I have set for our brews. If you guys have any legends you want to see, drop them in the comments section below. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope to see you all out on the Rift.